Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. This is the newest edition of the Q&A with Boxing Loco. Unfortunately, Boxing Loco couldn't be with us today, but he will be back for the next episode. Let's just dig into your questions. Also, check out our channel. Basically at the top, our affiliate channels. That the only channel that we're subscribed to is Encore Records. There's some great music over there. Go check it out. All right, the first question is from Jason C. Will you get a phone line? Absolutely. We're going to get a phone line. We're actually going to do live streams, get live coverage of fights and ask the real questions to the fighters, go to gyms and do all the things that we need to do to be a full spectrum boxing channel in every aspect of the word. Not only give you unbiased and real commentary, but ask the fighters the best questions, go to the fight, cover these events, and just give you unbiased content from top to bottom. That's all coming in 2019, so be patient, but yes, the phone lines will come. The next question is from Rigo Eriola, and this is, why is boxing ego and DBN so fucking biased, bro? That's a great question, Rigo. And these guys are so fucking biased because they're pushing an agenda and a narrative, and basically that is the PBC is better than everybody else. They're only fans of the PBC, clearly. This is why these guys can talk about DAZN and Eddie Hearn, and then they can talk about Bob Arum and Top Rank. But if you notice, these guys never find fault with Al Heyman. These guys are PBC fanboys, and they're promoting that narrative, and any fighter that's on PBC, they're going to pump up and push up as the best they've ever seen. The next question is from Marcus Garcia. Who do you think Canelo is going to fight next once he gets past Rocky Fielding? I think more than likely he'll fight Danny the Miracle Man Jacobs. He's on DAZN, so I think that makes the most sense. But if he doesn't fight Danny Jacobs, I can see him basically trying to get a fight done and trying to get Jamal Charlo to come over to DAZN so he can fight Jamal Charlo, which is his WBC mandatory, basically if he gets past Triple G, or if the WBC allows that to happen right away. And I think Canelo would take that fight because it would probably be the easiest of all the fights he could take. He's the most unproven. If he fights a Danny Jacobs or Demetrius Andre, both of these guys are more proven at 160 pounds, seeing how they're both world champions compared to a Jamal Charlo. But my official answer for that is going to be Danny the Miracle Man Jacobs. Great question, Marcus. The next question is from Always at B. Can Boxing Loco get a new mic? He sounded like he was outside in the last video. That's a great question. Yeah, we're working on a few technical skills and upgrades, and so we will go ahead and upgrade all these tech issues. So don't worry about it. It's all getting handled. The next question comes from Candy Skills. Do you think Canelo will beat Fielding? Absolutely. That's the easiest question of the night. The next question is from Victor Ortiz. Why the fuck don't you have more subs? Fuck DBN and Ego IBFP. Nobody can touch you. You're as real as they get. Like I say, 1000% keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Vic. The reason why we don't have more subs is because we're brand new to this. We're still getting on our feet and we're taking baby steps. But don't worry, the platform will grow, the channel will grow, and you'll see more people wake up. The next question is from Oscar Vasquez. Do you think DAZN will make quality boxing fights? Absolutely, Oscar. You got to look at it like this. These guys have already signed Saul Canelo Alvarez, and whether he has a rematch with Triple G or fights Danny Jacobs, that's going to be a huge freaking fight. So you know the platform is only going to get better. You have to look at it like this. The platform is only 3 months old, and they already have Showtime scheduling 3 pay-per-views, and Tyson Fury and Wilder, and then Adrian Broner, and then Spence Garcia. So you have these guys playing all these pay-per-views just to keep up because they're in fear of what DAZN might do because they don't have pay-per-view, and they have the biggest boxing star in North America, which is Saul Canelo Alvarez. So yeah, that's pretty much to sum it up. I think the fights will come. I think just give them a little more time. It's only been 3 months. They're still new at this. But great question, Oscar. The next one comes from El Nan. People like the other channels because they like hearing what they want to hear, even if it's a lie. You're absolutely right. You have to understand, so many people came into boxing as casual fans, and so they got their first boxing knowledge from these biggest channels. And so if you're not used to having a good understanding about boxing and you listen to these big channels and you think that these guys know everything, you're really listening to the stories of a fanboy and have no idea. And so basically it takes a while to come to a realization like, hey, all of this is bull crap. But that was a great question. Next question is from Maldonado S. Will Wilder duck the Fury rematch and sell his belt to AJ finally? That is a great question. I really appreciate you basically giving us this question. That's a great question. I honestly think that Wilder wants to duck the Fury rematch and wants to sell his belt to AJ, but I don't think he can. I think Tyson Fury will pretty much try to force him into that rematch, and unfortunately, we won't get that AJ fight. I don't think that AJ fight's going to come until late 2019, if Wilder can get past Fury, which I highly doubt at this point. But again, that's a great question. Next question is Crazy D3. Will Wilder choose a rematch with Fury or undisputed with Joshua? We just answered that, but that's still a great question. I think it's ultimately going to have to be Fury. Manuel Daharo. What's up, IBFP? First off, I'd like to give you props for keeping it real regardless of what these little fanboys say. Thank you very much for that. My question is, how do you see Canelo Alvarez versus Danny Jacobs play out and who wins? Honestly, I have to be 100% honest and unbiased, and I think that's a 50-50 fight. And the reason why I think that's a 50-50 fight is because both fighters have a unique skill sets. And, Danny Jacobs has a big size on him, but Canelo Alvarez is extremely quick and talented boxer and who has very, very good defense. So you have to look at it, to me, in my personal opinion, I think it's a 50-50 fight. It's a pick'em fight. It could go either way. I think it'll make a trilogy type of matchup, same as Triple G and Canelo. But once again, that's a fantastic question. Thank you very much, Manuel. Frankie Gallegos. Now, would you agree Spence versus Garcia would be a similar fight to Fury versus Wilder, as in Spence relying on power punches in order to beat Mikey, while Mikey dances around Spence, landing, not wasting any punches? Also, everyone is saying Spence is too, I'm assuming, big. He has the height advantage. Is it possible Mikey will use that to his own advantage and display enough skill to make the boogeyman miss enough to make him look bad? Thank you, IBFP, if you haven't already started making shirts. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Frankie. We will bring some merchandise such as shirts and things like that in the future, but I will tell you what, you'll be the first recipient of a shirt. I will remember you. I appreciate the question, and I absolutely think that you hit the nail right on the head with this. I think that Mikey Garcia is a talented boxer, and movement is going to be the key in a Spence fight. I think Errol Spence Jr. has never fought a fighter who utilized movement. Basically, pretty much every fighter that he's fought sat right in front of him. And Lamont Peterson was the fighter I thought was going to try to utilize movement, because if you go back and watch the Lamont Peterson versus Danny Garcia, he seemed more scared of Danny Garcia's power punching than he did of Errol Spence's, which I couldn't understand. So at that point, when he sat down and basically tried to go toe-to-toe with Errol Spence Jr., I knew it was already over before it started. I think Mikey Garcia will use lateral movement. I think Errol Spence Jr. is straight up and down, no special effects. He marches forward in a straight line. I've noticed a few angles he tried to use in the Lamont Peterson fight, but he was extremely slow and he's very predictable. So these are all things I think that'll work to Mikey Garcia's advantage. Great question, Frankie. I really appreciate it. Kurt Santos, you're the best out there. I've been around boxing more than 40 years, and you keep it fair with all nationalities. DBN and ego are racist. I'm sorry, but it's true. You're the smartest out there. Thank you, brother. By the way, I'm Spanish. Thank you very much, Kurt Santos. I appreciate your comment. And basically here at IBFP, we don't like to incorporate race or creed or anything like that. We love boxing. We're boxing fans, and so we're all a family. We don't care about any of that stuff. We don't try to create a narrative on anything to do with race. We're going to call it down the middle and unbiased, and I appreciate you, Kurt Santos, for bringing that to everyone's attention. The next question is from Mike RS. Who could have beat Roy Jones Jr. in his prime? Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think anyone could have. Roy Jones Jr. is probably one of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life, especially in his prime. That's a hell of a question. Thank you very much, Mike. The next question is Mr. Hulk 333. What do you really think of the heavyweight division? Is there any real heavyweight that is good besides Anthony Joshua? I think Tyson Fury is very talented. I think Tyson Fury could ultimately beat anybody in the heavyweight division, the same as Joshua. In the heavyweight division, everybody has a puncher's chance because these guys are so massive. But the most skilled guys, the best guys, and the most proven guys have to be Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I think Alexander Povetkin is underrated. I think he's very good as well. I would never dismiss Luis Ortiz. People seem to think that I don't like Luis Ortiz or I don't rate him highly because I say he's not elite. He's only not elite because he's so much older and he has conditioning issues. That is it. He has the skill set of an elite fighter. He just does not have the age and endurance, in my opinion. If I'm wrong on that and he goes out and beat an elite fighter, I will eat my words. Don't worry, I'll be 100% unbiased. I'm not fanboying for anybody. I'm just being real in how I see it. And but that's a great question, Mr. Hulk 333. The next question is from Alex Becerra. It looks like here your question is: Boxing Ego was my favorite boxing news to go to, but his true colors are coming out. I'm disappointed with him. I'm a financial supporter. I'm going to cut my funding for his biased views and how cut to those who challenges him. Now that's a fantastic question. Biased ego is what I call him. But Boxing Ego, he's extremely biased and he does not tolerate dissent from anybody. So basically, if you disagree with his opinion, he likes to block you and kill any conversation. And so that's not what we are at the IBFP. If you disagree with me on anything, that's absolutely fine. When Boxing Loco posts one of these forums, please respond with your question, respond with what you disagree with. I'll even go as far as setting up a phone line, go as far as making a response video, and so we can have a clear and concise debate about this. Because if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. If what I predict doesn't happen, I'll be happy to say, hey, I was wrong. You have to think about it like this. Deontay Wilder was an overwhelming favorite over Tyson Fury, yet I still picked Tyson Fury because I couldn't allow what other people thought to affect what I know to be true. I know to be true that a more skilled fighter will most likely beat a puncher. I've seen Deontay Wilder fight bums for 40 fights, and I've seen Tyson Fury dance around one of the best fighters we've ever seen in Vladimir Klitschko. So I had to call it down the line and unbiased, and that's what I came up with. And to me, in my opinion, Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. But that's a great question, Alex. The next question is from Slick Dude. Yo, what's up? I love your channel. Keep it up. My question is, who does Canelo have to beat to shut these casuals up? I think there's only one fighter that Canelo Alvarez have to beat to shut these guys up, and that's Jamal Charlo. Knock out Jamal Charlo, and the fanboys are done. There's nothing else they can say. Great question, Slick. The next question is for Carlos Maldonado. How do you think Mikey Garcia would do against Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor? I think both of those would be great fights at 140 pounds for Mikey Garcia. But the way I look at it is, I think just Mikey's just a very special and powerful fighter. I think both of those guys could give him unique challenges. But ultimately, I still would give Mikey Garcia the edge against both of those guys because of his experience and his skill set. Not only is Mikey Garcia a power puncher, but he's also an elite boxer, so he has the whole total package. Josh Taylor is a better boxer than Prograis, but Prograis is a stronger puncher than Taylor. I think Mikey Garcia has the combination of all of those things. Great question, Carlos. The next question is El Chapo. I can't repeat it the way he put it, but I'm assuming why do blacks hate on Mexicans so damn much? Now, as far as that goes, the only thing I can assume you're referring to is these LDBC fangirls. And now these LDBC fangirls are basically their entire videos and everything, and they come out and say it, they're just race baiting. So it sounds like that's just all they care about. That's all they want to do. So you can't take these guys serious. And honestly, I wouldn't even entertain them. Great question, El Chapo. The next question, would you ever come out on DBN Live and let them bias as know what's the truth? And that's from Swiss Kid 316. Swiss Kid, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If we put up a poll and you guys want me to go on DBN Live and let them know, That's exactly what I'll do. You guys got to remember, the IBFP is a community, and we're a family here. And so if it's an overwhelming majority vote that you guys want me to go on there, I'll do it immediately in a heartbeat. Great question. The next question is from, I don't know what I'm talking about, but who you got on Ortiz versus Joe Joyce? I think it's a 50-50 fight. I know a lot of people will favor Ortiz stateside, and I know a lot of people will favor Joyce in the UK. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Joe Joyce is a very big, strong fighter. I know he's young in his career, but he's being fast-tracked for a reason, because of his immense talent. I think Ortiz is very good. I think Ortiz could stop Joyce, or Joyce could stop Ortiz. It could be a great fight either way. I think it's 50-50 in my opinion, so I wouldn't lean toward one guy or the other. I think it's that close. But yes, that's a great question. Thank you very much. The next question is from Ricardo Lopez. Now that we have Fury back in the mix, who do you see dominating the heavyweight division in the upcoming years? Who do you see beating AJ, Crawford, Canelo, and Mikey Garcia? As far as to answer that question, who do I see beating those guys? Honestly, no one. I mean, I haven't seen a fighter that's as good as AJ in the heavyweight division. As I guess in my opinion, I think Fury can possibly do it. As far as Crawford, I don't think there's any welterweight, in my opinion, that can beat him unless he moves up. As far as Canelo, I think Canelo is probably the most talented, purely talented guy at middleweight. I think Danny Jacobs is the 50-50 fight and his biggest challenge there. And Mikey Garcia, if he doesn't come into the Errol Spence Jr. fight with the right game plan, he could possibly lose that fight. But yeah. Not that you was biased at any video at all. I think you keep it fair, and that's why we're all here. But have you ever rewatched one of your videos and say, shit, this fighter proved me wrong? And that's a great question, Ricardo. And absolutely, I mean, there's been times where I relook at something and I say, man, this guy did better than I thought he was going to do. I had to reevaluate my thoughts and opinion, and that particularly happened on the Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia. I basically had that as a 50-50 fight. I went back and forth for days trying to figure out who I had to win that fight. But ultimately, I sided with Danny Garcia because I thought he was going to be the sharper, stronger, crisper puncher in that fight, and he just got completely outworked by Sean Porter. So kudos to Sean Porter. And I missed the boat on that one. So yes, I'm quick to admit when I'm wrong, and I missed the boat. Great question. Next question is from Merc Ram. Who should be the next opponent of Canelo after fielding Triple G, Andre, Charlo? Basically, I think it should either be Charlo or Danny Jacobs. Great question. The next question is from Cute Fur. Since every middleweight that's known right now is on DAZN, should Charlo be known as a ducker since we know that he won't sign? I think we should acknowledge the fact that I can talk tough from across the street, but he won't go in the middle to fight is a form of bitchmadeism. I 100% agree. That's a great question. You got to look at it like this. Jamal Charlo is not really looking for that smoke if he's not willing to cross the street and accept the big fights. Great question. The next question is from Pablo Cardenas. I need to know your opinion on the Charlo twins and the challenges they need to make in the near future. Basically, my opinion on the Charlo twins is I think that they're very talented young fighters, but they are unproven and untested. We don't know how good these guys really are until they step in the ring with somebody that's elite or legitimate. Great question, Pablo. Also, Pablo, I think they need to just step up in competition, period. Once they do that, that'll tell us who they really are. The next question is from El Mario. Mario, are you Mexican? Now, the only reason I can't answer that question for you, El Mario, is because I don't like to bring race into this. But I will tell you, eventually you will know my ethnicity, because when we're out at the fights and doing these interviews, you will see me plenty of time, trust me. So that is yet to come. The next question is from I'm Ichirio, I believe, Ada. Do you think Canelo can beat anybody from welterweight to middleweight? No one that's not a middleweight, at least, is not beating Canelo. Anybody that's not at least 160 pounds, I don't believe can beat Canelo Alvarez, period. If you're 154 below, you're not beating Saul Canelo Alvarez, period, in my opinion. The only chance that anyone can possibly beat Canelo, you have to be at least 160 pounds in this weight division and settled there and proven before I can believe that you can beat Saul Canelo Alvarez. The next question is from Erico619. We all know who won Fury. Can Wilder adjust in a rematch and actually box a little and set up the power right hand? As of now, I truly believe AJ can beat Wilder. How about you? If Fury wouldn't have got folded, would they have still robbed him? In my opinion, absolutely. I think that they were going to rob Fury regardless of what would have happened in that fight. I think that you have to understand that even in that fight, even with the robbery, I'll put it like this. If we thought a draw was a robbery, imagine why one judge had Wilder winning. Like, that made absolutely no sense. I could understand maybe you were so biased that you had it a draw, but one guy legitimately had him winning. You saw the majority of the rounds Deontay Wilder won. You were watching from biased eyes. Great question. And one last thing. I do think Tyson Fury, I think he's a top level fighter, and I think Deontay Wilder can make some adjustments and have a possibility. He always has a puncher's chance because he's very, very strong, but I think Tyson Fury will only improve from this point on out. Great question. The next question is from Mr. Perez. Who will Triple G end up signing with? I believe DAZN. Great question. The next question is El Californio. Can you name one flaw in a prime welterweight Oscar De La Hoya's technique? Absolutely. And the first thing that I'll say in that is basically fighting small. I think Oscar De La Hoya in his prime, he fought down to the size of his opponent. And so that's the only thing that I would change about Oscar De La Hoya's career at that particular weight. Great question. Now, the next question is from Lil Chris Girl. Who do you think is the better opponent for AJ, Fury or Wilder? I think Wilder is. I think people will get a kick if AJ comes out and stops Deontay Wilder. I think that'll make international headlines and waves. I think people will really, really love to see that fight. And I think it'll make a huge statement in the heavyweight division. Great question. The next question, last question, is from Chivo Dank. Who do you think wins, Mikey versus Spence? Absolutely, 100% unbiased. Mikey Garcia wins that fight all day. In my opinion, skills beat power and size all day. People always quote, a good, big man beats a good little man. In this case, you have a great small man versus, in my opinion, is an average big man. And I think that will come to light and be exposed when they fight. Once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's the IBFP, unbiased as always.